Hi everybody, Andrea Courey here, and I'm coming to you from Montreal, Quebec. It's been a great honor to do many sound sessions with Helping Parents Heal, and today we're going to do a workshop. So it's some of the things that I really love to talk about that we don't get to do in a 1-hour session. So since I am also hosting this as well as doing the workshop, it's a little tricky for me to read your messages in the chat box. But at one point, I will get there, okay? If there's something urgent, like you can't hear me anymore or whatever, just unmute yourself and let me know, okay? Because one of the things I always learned about meditation was that stuff does happen. Cell phones do go off, and internet does break down. Even instruments, hopefully it won't happen today, but instruments can break, things can happen. So one of my first tips, and I'm going to approach this as if all of you really are interested in doing sound meditations. In one way or another, you want to do it for yourself, you want to do it for other people. And one of the first things I'd love to share with you is the fact that stuff is going to go wrong, and it's okay. And you can almost expect that to happen. So you refine your skills as you go. And I do prepare for every sound session that I do. Let's say we're starting at 1 o'clock. I don't just come on at 5 to 1. At about 12:15, I'm meditating and I'm asking, and I say, you know who is going to be there today. Spirit always knows before we know everybody who is going to show up. So help me to bring forth what is in everybody's highest and best good. Help inspire me to talk about the subjects that matter to the people that are going to participate with me today. So that would be a first tip, okay, is to give yourself a little bit of time before the session starts to sit, to get peaceful, and to go into stillness, and to ask, what would you like me to know today? What do I need to know for this session that is coming up? Okay? Hi, Amber. We've already started. Just to let you know, this is being recorded. And my name is Andrea, and I'm happy to be here with you. We're going to do theory, we're going to do practice, okay? And anytime you have a question, as long as we're not like in a state of meditation and we're not doing an actual meditation, you can ask me your question, okay? So these are quartz crystal bowls. Now, quartz is actually the most plentiful mineral in the ground. About the bowls, let's say you hear this sound and you say, oh yeah, this speaks to me. I would like to buy quartz crystal bowls. My recommendation, if it's possible, is to do it live. Go in person to your supplier, okay? Now, that being said, at the last Helping Parents Heal conference, because I live in Montreal and the conference was in Phoenix, I couldn't bring all my instruments. So Elizabeth bought bowls online. None of us had ever heard them, and they worked beautifully. So we did what we had to do so that the sound lounge in the conference worked and everybody could feel those vibrations. But if you can make it to a store, if you can get there and listen to the vibration, listen to the sound, that's definitely preferred. Now, when we do a sound session, there's a couple of basics that I do every session. I imagine most of you have heard or attended at least one of my sound sessions online. So you haven't, you're saying no. Oh, so this is all new for you. Okay, cool. Well, there are a couple of basics. Once we sit down and everybody comes into the Zoom room or I do it live, one of the first things to remember is that energy is directable. You can actually direct energy. So you can be in Hong Kong, you can be anywhere around the world, I can be here, and I can direct by my intention, I direct this energy to you and you will feel it very strongly. So you as the facilitator, if you're doing a sound session online, you want to set very early on, just as you begin, even before anybody gets there, you set the intention that you are going to. Now, this is something I would take note of if I had a pen and a paper. You set the intention to offer what is in everyone's highest and best good, because this really works as a heart-to-heart connection. And because energy is directable and it knows no physical limitation, you could be on the moon and we could do sound together. The second premise is that everything is vibrational. Energy vibrates, everything vibrates. Every cell in our physical bodies is vibrating. Isn't that amazing? And every organ in our body vibrates. You know, more and more, science is working with sound and vibration to do non-invasive ultrasound surgery. Is that cool or what? In other words, it's kind of the premise of the opera singer and the crystal glass. So if I was an opera singer and I could sing at the resonant frequency, the resonance, I'm not going to give you a lot of terms because they just confuse us anyway. But if I could sing at the same tone as that crystal, if I could find that same resonance, and then what I would do to make that crystal glass shatter is I would increase the amplitude. In other words, raise the volume. And that is how ultrasound surgery works. So if somebody has, let's say, a kidney stone, it's really fascinating. It's a group of surgeons in Israel that have created this technology for ultrasound, non-invasive surgery. And they detect the stones using equipment. They give a reading of the frequency of those stones. They send that frequency into the stone and then they up the amplitude and away, gone. No more kidney stones. And more this is being used also for cancer. So sound is so much more than just taking in a vibration, and maybe after you've breathed in and breathed out a little bit, you feel some peace. It's scientific, it's proven. And I'm going to give you a name now. And if you write this one down too, this will really blow you away when you see on YouTube some of the experiments that he did and now that others are copying. So just for those who've just joined us, I just want to tell you I'm not doing a PowerPoint because you're like my students today. And when I was teaching in university, everybody just said, send me the PowerPoint, and they almost, didn't really want to take notes in class, and that's no good. So I encourage you all to take your own notes. And when you take the time to listen and then write and later on to reread, then it'll mean something to you. So this gentleman has used thank you so much for doing this. You're welcome, Amelia. The premise comes from experiments that were actually done in the 1600s, believe it or not. And these are experiments that were done with the bow of a violin at the time. And there was this copper plate, and a little bit of sand dust that was sprinkled on top of a copper plate. And then as the musician would play the plate, the dust would move and it would create beautiful designs. So along comes the 1980s, and a gentleman by the name, and this is the name I really want you to check out on YouTube. His name is Hans, H-A-N-S, Jenny, Jenny. And he did the coolest experiments with sound. Because, of course, come the 1980s, then we have all kinds of music and vibration that he fed onto these metal plates. Basically, the same thing that was done 300 years ago, but now with more refined instruments. And boy, oh boy, there in front of your eyes, you see what vibration can, exactly, Hans, Jenny, you see what vibration can create. Okay? And of course, you probably have heard of Dr. Emoto, E-M-O-T-O. You've heard of him, who did many experiments with water molecules and sound and intention, and how he was able to transform chaos into harmony. He was able to clean water using sound, vibration, and intention. So imagine with our bodies, such a high percentage water, what we can do with sound, vibration, and intention. Wow. So I set an intention at the beginning, Dr. Emoto. Thank you, Amelia. It's like you're helping me along here. I appreciate that. So we set an intention at the beginning. And I'm going to give you, we're going to do this in a meditation, okay? Because we don't want to talk too much. But I want to give you this tool. Now, this is a sacred geometry. Sounds weird, it may be strange, especially if you've never done a sound session with me, you've maybe never heard of this. But I was in England, and I was taking some courses on mediumship, because I had so many amazing things happening to me, I wanted to try and understand them. And I was walking down the hallway, and mediums never give readings when you're walking down the hallway. That's like a rule, because there are places full of mediums. And it's like you have to book a medium, you have to schedule it, and then you have a reading. But not that day. This lady stopped me in the hallway, and she said to me, "Do you realize you have a pyramid on your hip?" And then from there, I asked a bunch of questions, and I found out what that was, what its use was. And at the time I thought, well, this is weird. I'm never going to use this. Why do I have this? And guess what? I use it now for every single sound session. And I also used it when I went through cancer surgery, and you do chemo or radiation, or if you have to do an MRI and you're told do not move, or if you can't sleep and it's the middle of the night and you're trying to find a way to go back to just stillness in your mind. So I'm going to give you this tool, but not really do it. And in a few minutes, when we do a sound session, then I'll sort of say it in a different tone. Okay, we'll go through it slower so that you can really feel it. But now what I want you to do is, of course, write it down. So what this is it's using our imaginations, and our imagination is such a powerful tool. And we know that our cells believe whatever we imagine to be real. So if you really can believe it, belief is so important. You know, when I talked about energy is directable, you can direct energy anywhere. You have to believe that you can direct energy anywhere. And you have to believe it before you see it. It's not seeing is believing. It's the opposite. Okay? You have to believe before you see. That's critical. All of this hinges on belief. So the sacred pyramid consists of 4 large triangles, and these triangles are on the ground. And we do this exercise with our eyes closed. But we imagine these 4 large triangles. One is in the front of us and one is in the back. and one is on the right, and one is on the left. And the idea is that we're going to pick them up. They're going to fit together absolutely perfectly above our heads. It's like a hermetic seal. It's unbelievable how well these things fit. Now you have to believe they fit, right? Now, this pyramid can be as small or as large as you want. Sometimes I'm doing a live session here in this little cottage, and I'll put all of us in the same pyramid. Or sometimes I'll put the whole house, or sometimes the city, or sometimes even the whole planet. It is as small or as large as you wish it to be. There's a lot of research been done with pyramids. And I have also done a lot of anecdotal stuff. And it's quite fascinating how whatever happens while this structure is up, even if it's imaginary, is magnified. So your thoughts are magnified, your words and your actions. So we put it up at the beginning of a session, but you take it down at the end, because there's a lot going on in the outer world that you just do not want to magnify. So you want to magnify what's happening while you're doing your session. Okay? I just want to check. Do you guys find this useful and relevant? Yeah? Okay. Good. It's funny because I used to do the pyramid all the time, and then you know what I did? I got lazy because it's work. You know, you got to put it up and you got to take it down. And I started getting lazy and I stopped using it. And one day I was meditating and I heard Andrea. And like when your guides talk to you like that and address you like that, I was like, oops. And they said, we give you the most amazing tool. And then you get lazy on us and you stop using it. I said, okay. So I use it now every time. And then it was sort of a joke, you know, but the point was made is that we're given these tools. Yes, it takes a little discipline. There's no question. This road is a road of self-discipline because you keep practicing and fine-tuning and messing up and getting better. So this is how it works with this pyramid of light. The right side triangle has red light in it, and the left side triangle has the deep, beautiful purple. Behind you, that third triangle you're going to bring up is a beautiful, soft, light blue. And the triangle in front of you, the fourth one to come up, is the gold. So you seat everybody. You acknowledge that everyone that is with you in this sound session is in a safe space of their own choosing. They may be in their car. They may be in a park. They could be sitting outside, or they could be in their home. But they are in a place where they feel good and safe. So this part we acknowledge. And then what I usually do is a few conscious breaths. There is probably no quicker way to still the mind and go inside than to take a few conscious breaths. And all that means when I say conscious is that you think of the breath. And it's an in-breath with the nose and an out with the mouth. And you go with what feels right for you. You know, you can encourage everyone to really make a sound on the out breath. That's a real release. Like after a rough day at work or whatever. I used to give a lot of speeches too. And you know how your stress level goes up before a speech? Oh my God. And you just do a few of those breaths and you feel so much calmer. So you acknowledge that you're all in a safe space. Now, I don't use any religious terminology. And I have a teacher who does. She's like super Christian, Catholic, and that's how she taught me. But I decided that I wasn't going to do that. So occasionally the word God is there in an opening prayer or in, you know, Lord, show us the way to peace or whatever. And that again is based on what you feel comfortable or not comfortable doing. I've taught in schools where I've had kids of all kinds of backgrounds and denominations, and I just didn't want to upset anybody So I tried to keep it very secular in my terminology. But if you start with something like, may the white divine light of love fill up this pyramid and fill each one of us, for we are here for the love of ourselves and our higher selves and all our fellow human beings. You can do something like that. You can say anything. Say, I didn't bring God into it. I didn't mention Jesus. I have a most magnificent drawing of Mary in front of me here that I use to inspire me to open my heart, but I don't necessarily show it to anyone. So we start, we acknowledge that everybody's in a safe space. We can say a short prayer if we want, bring in the white divine light of love. We do a few conscious breaths, and then we put the pyramid up. And so we encourage. Now, sometimes people are afraid to close their eyes, and that's okay. That happened to me the other day. I had some men in a group live, and they were like, we want to see what's going on here. We've never done this. We don't know what this is. Also, like my teacher would always encourage everyone to uncross your legs, uncross your arms. And what I have found is that naturally, as the vibrations increase, people will uncross. They just will. So I don't bother telling anybody. So we're sitting in a safe space and we've closed our eyes. We've taken our conscious breaths. And so now we use, your voice. Your voice is really important, okay? As hard as this is, record yourself and listen to your voice. You're not going to think it too, that's for sure. But is it a voice that you like to listen to? You know what? That's really important. I didn't know I had a good meditation voice until people told me, but it really makes a difference, you know? Diane, I see you nodding your head. It does. It makes a difference. You want people to feel comfortable. So as uncomfortable as that might be, if you are planning on doing sound for others, record and listen to your voice. There's a lovely thing I've learned as time has gone on is to take my time. It's okay having bits of silence. You need silence with sound, okay? So I don't rush through the pyramid. So we imagine now that we are seated, and I tell everybody we are going to put up our sacred pyramid of light. And this is going to serve not only to put us in this space that's filled with light and that magnifies everything we think, say, and do, but it also helps us because we're going to bring this light that fills this pyramid. We're going to bring it down the body, out the soles of the feet, and create roots of light that go deep into the ground. And I'm telling you, I owe a lot to that lovely medium at the Arthur Findlay College. At the time, I didn't know what she was giving me. And having used it now in so many different ways, I see how valuable it is. So it goes like this. You look to the right and you pick up that first triangle on the ground, and this one is a beautiful deep red. And in your mind's eye, in your imagination, you're going to see whatever that looks like to you. And then to the left, you look to the left, and with your mind, you command the second side up, up, up it comes. And this side is a lovely deep purple. And you give it a chance. Give them a moment to connect. Give them a moment to sort of reach each other and create that strong apex above your head. And also give yourself a moment to visualize that. And the third side behind you comes up, up, up. And this one is the soft, light blue. This one always helps me to open my heart right away. It's that soft blue mother energy. And then the fourth one, I used to have to bring it up. But now it's vibrating. It's just kind of right above the surface of the ground, and it's waiting to go join the other three. It so wants to be up there. And this fourth side is the gold, the majestic gold light, and up it comes to join the other three sides. And imagine that you are seated now in your own pyramid of light. And now we use the light. We bring in the red on the right and the purple on the left and the blue behind and the gold in front. And we move this light in a clockwise fashion. We start at the feet and move this light up the body, and it fills the pyramid as we go, and it comes up and up as it mixes all together. And when this light reaches the crown of the head, you can see it. It's like the crown of your head opens like a vase. I actually have a picture that somebody took where there was this incredible light at the top of my head that was like a vase. I was like, oh my God, it's really there, the vase. And the light, now you bring it down. Because remember, energy is directable. You can move this. You can put this light wherever you wish. You can send it to the end of your pinky. You can send it to your liver and kidneys. You can send it anywhere you would like in your body. This is a moment to fill yourself with light. So you bring it down, and it comes down the head and the neck, and across the shoulders, down the arms and fingers. It comes down the torso and the legs. And this light now goes out the soles of the feet, and it goes deep, deep into the ground. Roots of light being created and sent deep down into Mother Earth. So what this does is it gives you that safe space. It magnifies all that is thought, said, and done, and it grounds you. And this is a principle of sound that is important because the vibrations get so powerful that we need to stay grounded. It's like this paradox. We need to stay grounded, just like we need silence to really appreciate the sounds. So before I continue with any more theory, because we've put up our lovely pyramid of light, I think we'll just take a moment and enjoy a little crystal sound bath. And so this is what I would say next in a session is now I invite you to simply follow the sound. That's called the fade, when you just let the sound fade away. And you don't have to hit them hard and make them vibrate like crazy for them to be powerful. One thing I try to achieve is harmony. Even the way I hit the bowls. because I could use these same 4 bowls and hit them in a different sequence, and it will sound a lot more chaotic. Recently, I went to a concert given by a specialist in sound, and she had many, many bowls. She had like 9 bowls on the table. And you know what? I couldn't stay. After about 15 minutes, I was going out of my mind. There was no harmony. It was like this whole chaotic mix of notes. And it was like, no, I need flow. I want to just feel fantastic. I don't want to have an assault on me. So you don't need, you think, oh, gee, do I need to buy a lot of instruments? Nope. But I would start with one. And this is the first one that I started with. This one is called a therapeutic crystal bowl because, as you can see, it has a handle. And because it has a handle, I can get up from wherever I am installed in a room, and I can work on each person in the room. And when I work on that person, I work on their etheric bodies. Now, this brings us to another point. You know how they say you work on the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual? Well, it's essential to also, I say it's essential, but nothing's essential. It's essential to me because I have become acutely aware of what can happen when an etheric body is damaged, and it can wreak havoc on a person's life. And that can happen in many ways. Your etheric body is basically a carbon copy of you that's around you. It's like a safety mechanism around your body. And it can go out about 2 feet. It can go out different distances depending on your vibration, your light, your energy. But this etheric body, it's like a protection. And I don't want to get into the whole thing today about etheric bodies, but I would suggest if you jot that one down, learn more about how to protect your etheric body. If you do drugs, if you drink, you hurt your etheric body. If you lie, cheat, steal, you hurt your etheric body. If you play football and you have a concussion and you have a rip in your etheric body, that can also then eventually translate to injury in the physical body. And you also make yourself vulnerable. So that's enough said. But I would, I wrote a blog actually about it a long time ago, and it's on my site. And my site is andreacourey.com. And the blog is entitled The Invisible World. And I welcome and invite you all to read that because it's important. So I bought the first bowl being a therapeutic bowl. Now, this gets us into what, did you have a question? You have your hand up, Marianne? Is that a question? No? Yes? No? Okay. I just saw your hand up, so I thought maybe it's a question. So bowls are all tuned to different notes on the scale. This one is a C, and this is an F, and this is a G, and this is the high C. That's why there's harmony between them. So again, when I use this bowl, it's fascinating. This is an F note, okay? Throat chakra. I start working on somebody, almost invariably, they start coughing. You don't know how many cough drops I go through in a session. I always have cough drops with me. I always have a few glasses of water with me because it's energy, and energy wants to flow. And if you have stuff you haven't said, I'm guilty. Who doesn't have stuff you swallow instead of speak, or you just don't express outrage in our lives, whatever. So when the F note comes near you, it's going to stimulate your throat. And if there's stuff there that needs to be said, you're going to start to cough. And it happens almost invariably every session. It does. Now, some of you may be really interested in the chakras. So, you might think, well, I want to start and do a chakra meditation with sound. It's extremely powerful. The key is it has to be what resonates with you. There's another name I want you to write down. It's called sourcevibrations.com. One word, Source Vibrations. SOURCE vibrations.com. I started using their music. My son had given me some of their music, and I knew that there would be videos and audio recordings, and I wanted to be able to use this music and post these audio and videos and have their permission and blessing to use their music. So I contacted them. And it was one really nice guy at the other end of the email. And his name is Asa, A-S-A, Idoni, I-D-O-N-I. He has created so much music on that site, it's almost overwhelming. It's almost too much to make your way through it. But I bought a piece of music that I'd like to play now because it is music that was created by him for the chakras. And I bought the whole thing. I bought the red, orange, yellow, green, blue. I bought the whole thing. But there was one piece out of the 7 that deeply resonated with me. And so this is the one I want to share with you. I can't share with you stuff that doesn't matter to me. It won't touch your heart. If I share with you things that resonate with my heart, there's an opportunity there for them to resonate with your heart. But if I'm just delivering something that doesn't really speak to me, it won't have any value. It won't have any value to you. So we're going to listen now. Jeepers, it's already 1:45. We're going to listen to a piece of music that Asa created, and it's called Red. Simple, red. It's the first chakra. I want to show you something. Okay. So the first chakra, as we know, it's survival. And this is a great little diagram about the chakras. If ever it appeals to you and you want to work with chakras, you may want to work with that. But basically, the first chakra is the basis of us. It's survival. And if you listen to a lot of news and if you read the paper, pretty much if you're a citizen of the world, it's impossible not to know some of the awful things happening, and it fills us with fear. And so we want to neutralize that fear. We want to get to the 0 point of that fear, the 0 point. We want to neutralize it. And this music helps do that. So it's a long piece of music. I'm not going to play the whole thing because there's so many things I want to share with you. But it's called Red. And if ever anybody wants to get this music afterwards, whatever, I will send you a list of what I'm playing today. Okay? So I encourage you, if you have headphones, put them on. Remember, we did put that pyramid up, so it's up. And you can just close your eyes, take a deep breath to forget about all the words I've said, and just enjoy this music. As you take this into, this is where your imagination and visualization comes in. Imagine bringing in that beautiful red light, filling yourself with that red light, and neutralizing all fear. This music? You do. I would love to leave that on because it's extremely relaxing. It's wonderful. Also, if you can't sleep, so that is red. And source vibrations is extraordinary as a resource. Which brings me to, if you do plan to do any work on Zoom, there's a couple of clicks and movements and things you need to know in terms of how to share your screen and your sound. I'm not going to go into that now, but if anybody here really is interested, just send me an email and we'll do a Zoom call together, just the two of us, and I'll show you how to set yourself up with Zoom properly so that all the sound that you say can be heard, your instruments, microphone, and also whatever music you're going to play from your computer. So harmonious flow is really important. But sometimes you want a bit of chaos. And how do you know when you want a bit of chaos? It's when you want to break down resistance. And that's where you have to trust. You trust because you know that everything you are doing as a sound facilitator is being guided, and it's always being offered in the highest and best good of whoever you're with. So you trust. And there are a few instruments that I use, not often, but I do use them. And it's funny because when I use them, people say, "Oh my God, when you played that path, that pain in my knee just went away and I felt great." I'm like, see, I have to trust. So they're percussion things, and I'm going to show you one of them. And these are my rattles. So often, if I'm doing sound live, I will use a drum, bring everybody into a nice deep state. And then if I feel that there's somebody with a resistance, somebody whose body where the energy isn't quite flowing properly, I will use the rattles. And sometimes people get pissed at me. They're like, wait a minute, we're in this lovely, beautiful thing and you play these rattles. I'm like, well, I had to play them. And sure enough, you find out afterwards that it was the right thing to do. So usually I'll do them at a person's feet. Okay. I don't do it at the level of the heart. That would almost be too much. But I do it at the feet. And it helps. It helps to release any blockages because that's what vibration does. It either constructs or deconstructs. And this is a deconstructive sound. That's about as theoretical as it's ever going to get with me. That's it. Okay. Some of the other instruments that we have here. So because we do a moment with the physical body, and we do the mental body, and we do the emotional body and the spiritual body, it's kind of a workout. It's like by the end of that, everybody's like, whoa, they've spent a lot of time breathing, visualizing, and also going on imaginary journeys, which is so much fun. We're going to do that together. I mean, I've had the most beautiful journeys with my lovely Chloe in spirit. Like, wow, you want to meet with your lovely one? Raise your vibration and do a journey with sound. And it's incredible how they come. They come so fast. Oh, so beautiful. So sometimes we have taken people through a lot of paces. We've maybe done visualizing of our DNA, which is the physical body. And with the mental body, maybe we've done a journey into the woods. We're going to do that. We're going to do a mental body journey into the woods, where you go into the woods and you find a tree and you put the front of your head, the third eye, and you can even sometimes, I used to encourage people to rub this spot before they hit the tree. It's almost like it's activating the spot. And then when you get to the tree, you put your forehead against the bark of this tree. And you don't worry about anybody watching or not watching. So you hug that tree and then you open the mind. You visualize opening the mind. We're going to do that one. But when all those exercises are done, you want to give everybody a bit of a cool down. It's like a yoga class, and then you want to cool down. So we use chimes. And what the chime signals is just relax. No more work to do now. Now you will play these chimes whatever way speaks to you. And that's the beauty of it. But I find my way is just to go easy. Don't play it too fast. Okay, I'm going to do it. I actually even hate to do it because I don't like that sound. But just to show you the difference. Okay? So this is like chimes in a way I would not play them. All right? Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, the chime is a time to just say, okay, relax now, breathe. There's no more heavy lifting to do. And because of that, I actually have two. And I find they have a conversation with each other. And I don't give any suggestion when I play the chimes. Some people do. Go back to your childhood and see a moment. No, I think chime itself encourages you to go to somewhere simple and beautiful and remember something joyful. So it's really good to have something. This would be like my major keys. Played nice and easy. And then this would be the minor keys. Can you imagine that the intention that you bring to the session, it actually gets embedded in every instrument that you play and in everything you say. I had a really cool thing happen last week. I took everybody on a journey, and everybody was really like deep in a meditation. And I took them on this long, complicated journey. And we walked to the edge of a river, and we got on a boat. And the boatman took us across the lake. We got out of the boat. We went up the hill. I was just sort of following what I was being told to say. And this thing was never ending. And we went through the woods, and it was raining, and we came out of the rain. And finally, our loved one was there, and we hugged. And everybody, and then they said to me, now, this is the metaphor for life. You hugged, and as you hugged, the light of love completely filled and surrounded you both so totally that the boatman disappeared, and the lake disappeared, and the mountain disappeared, and the woods disappeared, and the whole journey, it was unimportant. What mattered was that deep love. Oh my God, we were all crying. It was so beautiful, and I realized it doesn't have to be. When you do a journey, it doesn't have to be a long, complicated journey. We're going to do one now. What the heck? Right? So because my intention is to offer this to you, I know that intention will be embedded in every instrument and in every piece of music. And we know that one of the most powerful ways to get answers is to go out into nature. And so we use nature sounds. This is a piece of music. Again, this is by Source Vibrations. Okay? And this one, it's called Blue Radiance. And I think I use it just about every single time I do a session. You know, one of the reasons too is that it's short. You want nice, short pieces of music that can carry people instantly out of their minds. You want to be out of your mind. And so now I'm going to put this on. It's actually 3 minutes and 33 seconds. You got to love that. And at the end of this piece of music, we're going to go on a nice little journey together. So here we go. That music is called blue radiance, and it is, isn't it? You can imagine the radiance of the color blue. Imagine that radiance now filling up your pyramid of light, energizing the red and the purple and the blue and the gold, and spinning it around you and turning it into white divine light. You are surrounded and completely protected by this magnificent white divine light. And now you notice so much energy and light and vibration all around you. You notice that you are not alone in your pyramid of light. At first, it starts like sort of a misty light, and then your lovely one takes form. And there they are in front of you in their perfect astral bodies with a big smile. Hi, Mom. I love you. Oof. And you hug. And the divine light of this love fills you both up. And there are no more words to say. Just love. And we open our hearts and send and receive love. And in this moment, we are all beings of light. With the mission to shine it in your particular magnificent way. Silence, remember. If you're doing a live session, sometimes people will fall asleep. Happens a lot, especially when they're new to sound and to meditation. The vibrations are so strong, they can't take them actually. They get them, but they get them while they're asleep. I had a gentleman who slept for a whole year at every session until finally he was able to handle the vibration and he was awake and he loved it. Now you know, if we were in a real session, I would never start talking to you now like this after a beautiful journey like that. I would give you time. I would let you come out of it slowly. Remember, energy is directable. It's just amazing what can happen. The most powerful sound instrument that you have is your voice. It's your voice. Imagine that. No need to go to the store. I work a lot with people who are going through cancer treatment. I figure all these things happened to me in my life as a gift so that I could really have compassion and empathy for others going through it. So my lovely Chloe, I was her caregiver and I was also a patient too. And I have a son who at the age of 19 really hurt his brain. One dose of bad drugs, imagine that. And what it did was it opened up to me the suffering of so many people. And I found my mission in helping these people. So I was recently in a school with a group of children who didn't speak English very well, almost not at all. And in fact, they were not allowed to speak English. They had to speak only French. So here you take these teenage kids and you tell them they have to not speak their mother tongue, which could be Mandarin or Spanish, or it was the United Nations in that classroom. And they have to learn French. So you can only speak to them in French. They were lost. So I thought, okay, how do I reach these kids? I reach them through sound. But one thing everybody knows is their own name. And they know when you say, give me the sound of a pain. Tell me in sound what your heart is trying to say. Wow. It's quite remarkable what comes out. So using your voice is probably the most powerful sound instrument you have. And we can each do that. I know the night that my lovely Chloe passed, hi Dina, you're back. The night Chloe passed, I said to the doctor, I said, I need to scream. I need to howl. I need to go crazy. I said, do you have a soundproof room? And he said, no. And I knew that I could go down to the indoor parking, which would be basically deserted at 2:30 in the morning, but I couldn't leave her. So I said, I need to howl, and there's nowhere here that I can do so. And it was like awful. I had to hold that howl in till I was in a place where I could let it out. So making the sound of our pain is a really powerful thing to do. And it's interesting because you may think you are making a physical sound, but then you're healing an emotional wound, or you may be focused on an emotional pain, but all of a sudden you have this mental clarity that you didn't have before. It works in its own ways and it's different for each person. But I mentioned that because chanting, which is using your voice in an orderly fashion, in a rhythmic fashion, disciplined, gives incredible mental clarity and it feels great. So I do a lot of kayaking and I will bring this chant with me. It's a 7-minute chant and I will sing it at the top of my lungs out on the lake. I don't care, nobody hears me. And I'll do it like 4 times in a row. So that's 28 minutes of this chant. And I don't know what does me more good, the chant or the kayak. But I'm going to play it for you now. And you won't know the words, but it doesn't matter. And if you do want them and you do want the chant, as I told you, send me an email. I'll put my email address in the chat box and I will send you the chant and the words. So chanting is really discipline for the mind and it just completely removes all the chatter. I have many different chants that I use, but this is the one for today. Here we go. It's a real beauty. And you know, actually, before we start, I just want us to take a few deep breaths. Because telling you that story about wanting to howl and all that, it's heavy. It's a lot. And I don't want to put any of that heaviness on you. So we're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Hold it for a sec and out through the mouth. And in through the nose. And out through the mouth. And you know that when you do those breaths, you can always marry that with an affirmation. And it can be whatever you wish it to be. I find it depends. It depends what's going on in my life. My affirmation changes. It could be on the in-breath. It could be I am. It's always I am on the in-breath. For me, anyway. And sometimes on the out-breath, it's worthy. I am worthy. Wow, that's a good one. Or I am the breath. So an affirmation works somewhat like a chant to just steady the mind, to focus the mind on the words and the breath. There we go. You see, just taking a couple deep breaths, you feel more centered.
I'm coming home, and I'm coming home.
So that's a piece of music called Ong Namo, Ongnamo. It's by a woman with a most angelic voice. And her name is Snatam, Snatam, and her last name is Kaur, Kaur. And Om Namo is I honor the divine within you. We haven't touched at all on binaural beats, which you possibly have heard a lot about. And there's a huge amount of research going on about binaural beats and how there are many brain related, it is beautiful, thanks Diana. There are many related, please repeat the names. Okay, you know what, I'll put them in the chat, okay? Yeah, what I will do is I will put, I am going to play another piece of music, and while it's playing, I'll put my email address and I'll put the names for you, okay? Okay, you're welcome. So binaural beats work on the premise that if you introduce one frequency in one ear, so one tone here, and just a slightly different tone here, not crazy different, they have to be really close, but your brain will then create linking between your left and right hemispheres. And a lot of the things that kids are dealing with, ADD and ADHD and all that, has to do with the two hemispheres not working well together. So what we want to do is bring them in sync. And that's why they call this kind of treatment hemi-sync or hollow sync. You want to synchronize the hemispheres of the brain. So it can be a huge study. It's extremely successful in research, like incredible success, using binaural beats to help the brain heal. Now, there's a very old instrument that's been around long time. I'm going to just lean down here and get it. It's called the tinctures, and this is a metal instrument. And this instrument, the premise behind it was that you would have slightly different frequencies in each cymbal, and you'd play them, and they'd work like the sticks to synchronize the hemispheres. So you hit them very gently. So this is a metal alloy. It's a copper tin. See, and the idea is, and it happens all on a level of we're not aware that it is happening. But the tinctures, sometimes people use them to signal the beginning or the end of a meditation, whatever. But they have a great use to help synchronize the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And that gets into, of course, all the brain waves. And there's a lot of music to encourage different states. One of the problems that we often have is trouble sleeping. And that would be the delta frequency. And I have music for that, but I don't want to get into all that. What I really want to do now is introduce you to some other instruments, stuff that you may not be familiar with. Have you ever heard of the didgeridoo? The didgeridoo is from Australia, and basically the first ones were a hollowed out eucalyptus, big long tube, and the Aboriginals just blew. Turns out the didgeridoo That's another interesting thing about sound. Different people respond to different instruments. Not everybody likes the crystal, not everybody likes the metal, but I want to give you a few minutes of the didgeridoo. What I'm going to do, I'm going to play it for like a minute because it's going to freak you out. I'm going to stop. And that'll give you a chance to catch your breath and say, okay, this is weird. And then I'm going to play it again for a minute or two. And the second time, I just kind of want you to be open to it. The first time it might be too weird. And the second time it'll be like, oh boy, this is deep and powerful. It's like when you hear the didgeridoo, there are no more secrets. It goes deep within you. It really does. So we're going to just play it for 1 minute and maybe even less, and then stop, and then I'm going to play it again. Okay? Okay. There we go. It's very low and guttural and strange. So the didgeridoo uses something called circular breathing so that they keep the sound going and going and going. And it's truly an art. It's a very old instrument. We're going to do another minute now and see if this time, now that you know the sound, so it won't be such a strange surprise, see if you can really use your own deep breathing and really breathe in the sound. Focus just on this sound. You only have it for 60 more precious seconds. Think of nothing else but this sound. You see the difference when you have some familiarity? All of a sudden, you're not afraid of it anymore. You don't put up the blockage, and you breathe it in, and it's like it guts you. It's like it's you feel gutted when you listen to this thing. There is nothing left to you but the sound, and that is very freeing because it takes you really to a very still place. Okay, we're going to try another instrument now. Now I do have a drum here, but I'm going to play um, in the shamanic world. There is a whole study doing 15-minute drumming sessions, and where you go into the upper, the middle, the lower world. We're not getting into any of that. But if that speaks to you, at least it's now on your radar screen and you may look into it. It's really magnificent. It's amazing. I did do a bit of study of shamanic sounds and instruments, and what it gave me was an incredibly heightened respect for the animal kingdom. And just for that alone, it was really worth it. So we're going to do a little drumming here. But the thing about drumming is if you don't really have any direction, if you don't know exactly where it's supposed to take you, it may seem a little chaotic. But I want to give you just the feeling of a minute or two of drums, because this drum will synchronize with your heartbeat and it really has an effect. It's a powerful sound. When I was doing work with kids with mental illness, uh, the drum was extremely powerful. They loved the drum. Yeah, they love the deep sound of the drum. So we're just going to do a couple minutes, and then I want to take you into the woods and do that short journey for the mental body to help us just connect to the trees, and we'll finish off with a sound meditation. Okay? Um, Actually, I don't want to take questions once we go there, because at the end, you really just want to be silent. So I'm going to put the drumming on, and after that, if anybody has a question, if you want to share anything or whatever, we'll do it now, and then we'll finish with a sound session, because um, that will probably be a better flow. So just 1 minute of drumming to give you the feeling for what it's like to immerse yourself in the drum. So if anybody has a question, I welcome it now, and I am putting my email in the chat box. And this is also the name of, no, you know how the computer likes to correct you? And of course it doesn't recognize these words, so it changes them. No, I can't get it to do it, but it's Ong Namo, O-N-G. And Snatam, anyway, is the name of the artist. You'll have to find it. So, does anybody have a question before we do? I might be visiting my daughter in Montreal soon. Could I? Oh, for sure. Could I come for a session? Absolutely. So I am in Point Claire, and I have to tell you, my daughter Chloe, who passed, she really led me to this place. It was a miracle. And I only realized like 3 years after she passed that I've been there. Oh, good. Chloe passed on February 18, 218. And you know what my address here is? 218. I only realized it like a short time ago. Oh my goodness. It's a very special little place. It's a little one-room sound healing house. So yes, Amber, give me, send me an email, whatever, and you'll come for a session. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Good. I want to buy sound bowls. Okay, so this one, the letter and tone, so F and C are good. You know what, Diana, I would say if you can buy them live, if you can go to the store and hit the bowl, I would say the C is a fundamental. One thing I do know, like my teacher tells me, this C is the biggest bowl I have. It's a 14-inch wide bowl. The larger the bowl, the deeper the sound. I could just hit this for an hour and everybody would just be completely out of their skin and have an incredible session. But you know what? It's kind of boring. That's why I just sort of like bowls that interact well with each other. So I would say, yeah, do a C. You see, that has a nice flow, harmonious flow. And even if I was to make it a little chaotic, because I can even make these chaotic, what would you recommend for 2 bowls to help with healing? Crystal, not Tibetan. Okay, you know what? I didn't even get into my Tibetan bowls, but I will. But I just want to show you, even these 4 bowls that have that beautiful flow, see how it sounds more chaotic? It's the same 4 bowls. That's the same 4 bowls. So, now bowls are made of a mineral from the earth, so they are living beings. That's what my teacher says anyway. But in fact, I can tell you that depending on the weather, the humidity, the heat, the cold, they sound differently. They don't always sound the same. So you just have to deal with it and go with the flow depending on the day. I live in a climate where it's very, very cold in the winter, and there have been nights where I left my bowls in the car. And you never play a bowl if you bring it in from a very, very cold night, because it's crystal. The letters of my bowls, sure. The first one, the deep one, that's a C. And then I have an F. and then a G, and then the upper C. You're welcome. You can do this. You can increase the frequency, raise the vibration like crazy. It like doubles it. But if you're doing Zoom, and the names of the chanting song, the name of the song, I tried to send it to you guys, but I didn't do it very well. The name of the song is Ong, O-N-G. I'm going to try it again. O-N-G. And the second word is Namo, but the computer doesn't want to put in Namo. It's N-A-M-O. Ift. It did it. Ong Namo. Okay. And the name of the artist, S-N-A-T-A-M. You see, it puts in Sonata. Ift. No, her name is not Sonata. It's S-N-A-T-A-M-K-A-U-R. There you go. And source vibrations for your music. Amazing. He's amazing. Sourcevibrations.com. There you go. Okay. Any other questions? I mean, I know we could talk about sound, we could talk, but it's just nice to have a little experience now. I did want to bring out, though, the metal bowl because you did mention it. And this one is a handmade bowl, so it's a very messy bowl. And the belief is that these bowls, as they were created for the tones, every time that the craftsman hit the bowl, and you can see he hit it many times, if one bowl, what's best? See? No, what's best is what resonates with you. You decide. When you hear the bowl, you trust yourself. Trust yourself. And if you like the sound of the bowl, and if the bowl resonates well with you, well, then that's the bowl for you. That's it. Okay? No rules. Don't even ask the note. Just hit the bowl and see. Dina, did you want to ask something? No? You're okay? Okay. So this bowl is a mix of apparently about 23 different metals. It's a very, very old Tibetan bowl. Again, when I worked with kids who had mental challenges, they loved the Tibetan bowl. It's a deeper sound and it resonates deep into the body. Most of the work that the vibrations do are done at a subconscious level. Sometimes it's at a conscious level where you actually get the tightness, the tension, the blockage, and then it's released. But especially this one, has a beautiful fade and really works on a subconscious level. It also really helps lower the blood pressure because you focus on the bowl. Once you dive into the world of sound, there's so much to learn. You learn about the Schumann resonance, which is basically considered to be the vibration of the planet that is maintained every time lightning hits the earth, which happens, I think, every 14 seconds or something. We have whale sounds and dolphin sounds, extremely healing. cricket sounds, all the sounds of nature. And there's a whole study. It's the study of cymatics. That's a term coined by Hans Jenny, the name I gave you at the beginning. Cymatics. It's how sound affects matter. I see this. There's a last comment. If one bowl was okay. So Amelia, I would say let your own self be your guide. This is the highest tone I have. Some people find it too much. But I keep this. It has a beautiful stand. I keep it in the kitchen. And everybody can hit it when they come in. It increases the vibration in the house. A great thing about the Tibetan bowls is they don't break. So here we are, it's 2:50. Where did the time go? So we're gonna, yes, great point. Yeah, about the metal bowls, they do not break. That's right. So if there are no further questions, you all have my email. If you want to reach out to me, please do. And just enjoy, try. Do a session for your family. Bring something in the house that vibrates and use it. So if you can't try a bowl and you want to know what to order, I would make sure that you can at least hear it online. Like if you go, there's a gentleman by the name of Fred. He does this with his wife. It's Fred Wilkinson, Wilkinson. Wilkinson. He's been working with Tibetan metal bowls. Him and his wife is Maureen. Go on their site and explore and listen to the tones and order something that resonates with you. You'll be able to hear the tone. Do you like to raise vibrations for healing? Well, that's what I do. That's what I do. Thanks, Heidi. So when I do a sound session, I'm actually a healer by trade, believe it or not. When I do a sound session, I don't necessarily tell everybody, but there comes a point. Actually, I want you to do something. I want you to go on my site and I want you to click on free meditations and look at that picture that a friend took during a Zoom session. Oh my God. You don't have to do it now. You could do it later, or you could do it now if you want. But that's what happens when the healing comes in. I don't know if any of you were at the HPH conference last summer and you saw the painting. Gordon Smith, a very well-known medium, created a painting that was auctioned off. And this painting showed a white figure with all this vibration of light and sound around them. It was incredible. Well, that is exactly what it feels like when I do a sound session. And when I get to the place where I feel that way, I feel all this healing around me. And that's when I pick up this and I blow. And I put one hand on my heart and the other hand I blow. And I tell people, when you hear that blow, breathe in, because this is healing that is coming to you. But again, you have to believe, right? It won't work if you don't believe. You have to believe. And enough amazing, incredible stuff has happened in my life that I've gone way beyond believing now. I know, that's what's cool, when it's not a belief anymore, when it's a real knowing. So the healing would work like this. We're going to end with a short meditation. Imagine now that you have left all this behind, all these words and vibrations and learning, and you just allowed yourself to go outside, to see a path before you that takes you into the woods, up to a tree, and you put your head against that tree and allow yourself to imagine those roots of light that we created at the beginning to mingle with the tree and with the roots and the wisdom of the tree. And you feel that bark on your third eye. Open up your mind, open up and let go. And now you decide it is time to open the heart. It is time to open your heart and find your way to peace. bring down our pyramid of light. And we bring it down in the opposite way that we put it up. So down comes the gold, and the blue, and the purple, and the red, and all the vibrations, the intention, all the love and the open heart and the divine light, all of it remains with us. And I thank you for being with me today. And I look forward to being together again. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and please, I welcome any emails, and I'm happy to share sound anytime that I can. I think, I know Elizabeth, she unmutes, so I'm going to stop the recording. So this ends the recording.